Swamiji, you want to share something to us about the upcoming Om Day?
Yes, I'd be glad to do that. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to do that. Om Om Jnanatimiram Dhasya Jnanamanjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I bow to the lotus feet of my Guru, who has opened my eyes to the source of knowledge and wisdom by removing the scale of ignorance. Om Day is coming on the 7th of January, that is Sunday, the 7th of January, 2018. The Om Day vision was started by Acharya Swami Pranavananji Maharaj, the founder of the Bharat Sevasam Sangha, where he said, Milan, Mahamilan. The word Milan refers to community cohesion, and Mahamilan refers to global oneness. So this was the type of vision he had, and we are trying to work out his vision to apply it in the world in order to achieve, at least to some extent, what he had in mind. In the year 2000, many people had projects. Some of them were temporary, some of them were more permanent. We had decided then to get the vision of Acharya Pranavananji going. And so we started this Om Day. And Om Day has taken two forms. One is the global vision, which is the Om Gayatri Yajna. And the other was an organization we started to include the Hindu, the Buddhist, the Jain, and the Sikh. We call them the Indogenic religions. So one of them is community orientated, the other is globally orientated. So we are now about to perform the global oriented vision, which aims at bringing humanity nearer together. Because what he saw at that time, there was so much, the wars, the boat wars, or the First and Second World Wars, and mankind was living in a state of hopelessness. And from that, when we started this particular project, there was so much distrust and hate and conflict. So we thought that it's ideal time for us to start something that can actually make man more conscious of a great understanding and a more satisfactory way of life. So that was the reason we started this, because Om, now Om has been defined as what was, what is, and whatever will be. What we know and what we do not know. All of these are referred to as Om. So Om then is the infinite consciousness in which this whole universe is existing. It is the primary sound from which everything has come into being. So everything is existing outside of it and inside of it. So it is that which sustains everything in this world. So if we can focus on that oneness of existence, then we will become more and more conscious of the unity of everything that exists. So it is necessary for us to work out a means by which we can focus on that Om. And that means is the Gayatri. Now, Gayatri is in the Vedas. It started by the Vedic rishis in the Rig Veda. And according to Max Muller, at that time, the world was asleep when the Vedic rishis were fully awake. And the Vedic rishis themselves had said that of all the mantras in the Vedas, the most powerful one was the Gayatri. But the Gayatri mantra has also been experimented with by an American scientist in Holland. He went in Holland and experimented with all the prayers of the world. And he came out to the conclusion that the Gayatri was the greatest prayer, more powerful prayer. So if we look back to history, to the Vedic age, from that time coming to the present time, or a few years ago or decades ago, we find that this mantra had been practiced by the Vedic rishis. And when we look to their lives were peaceful. And their vision was for development of humankind so that we can have a relationship that we all can exist or coexist for the good of each other, for the good of the world. So war was not in their mind, conflict was not in their mind. Their objective was how to get rid of these type of things. So we can see how relevant it is to our modern times. How to apply that into our modern times so that humanity can benefit from that. Now, if you look to our world today, our world is very much polluted, physically polluted. So much polluted that even the scientists and governments are thinking about the threat to our own existence. Now, physically, the world is polluted, and we can only see that part of it. But the world is also polluted mentally, in negativeness, in hate, in malice, in greed, in exploitation. These type of things pollute one's mind to destruction and these type of things. So how do we then overcome these aspects that are there, physical and mental aspects that threaten us, that causes so much problem and destruction even to innocent people in the world? If you look back to the Vedic rishis, they had a formula, a way of thinking, and that way of thinking was to see the whole world as a divine entity. So this earth, they used to call Dharti Mata, the mother. So if there's a relationship, a motherhood relationship between us and the earth, then we wouldn't exploit. And the reason for pollution is exploitation. So we exploit the resources that are necessary to sustain us. And it polluted the very thing that will give us life and sustenance. So when we look at it, there's no wisdom in that. It is absolute ignorance. The objective is to protect those because we depend on them for existence. So the Vedic rishis on that time, that ancient time, saw that because we depend on nature for existence, divinize nature, think of everything as divine. So when we look at things as divine and that sacredness is there, that sense of sacredness prevents us from polluting and destruction. But with the secular philosophy that develops, there's nothing that is sacred, you see. Scientists can do everything, and we now, rather than thinking about a divine entity, we think about man can do everything, and as a result of that, we have this pollution and this wars and destruction. But in reality, scientists are only looking at the physical aspects of the world. The mental and the emotional aspect and connections, they don't know anything about. But the Vedic rishis can see beyond this physical that there is something that is sustaining us, this mental and other states of existence. And that is what we call the unity of life, that it unites everything. That is what we call global oneness of things. To see everything that as interconnected and interdependence. So that vision is necessary for us to maintain harmony and peace in this world. So as I said, you have the Om, which is the primal song from which the whole universe and all existence come into existence. We need a connection between that and our own selves. And this is where the Gayatri comes in. So the Vedic rishis had said that the Gayatri is the most vital, most powerful mantra, and it has also been experimented with by the scientists, and this American scientists in Holland, to prove that of all the prayers, the Gayatri mantra was the most powerful. And since that is so, if you can use the Gayatri mantra for the purpose of bringing about the consciousness and awareness of the harmony and unity, not only among humankind, but with the whole of creation, then we can have what we are aiming at, a world peace, a peaceful world. So we pray for what? To lead us from darkness to light. Darkness means ignorance. Light means knowledge, wisdom. Because ignorance is the cause of destruction. Ignorance is cause of all the problems that we face in the world. Knowledge is that which removes the veil of ignorance, and through which we can see the real world and understand the harmony and unity that exists. The world is itself an abode of peace. We are the destruction of that peace that exists. So it is not creating of something, it's removing of something. And knowledge will help us to remove that thing that is the cause of the destruction of the peace of the world. So this is where Gayatri comes in. Because we pray, lead us from darkness to light. We pray, lead us along the path of righteousness. Righteous living. Righteous living means that we recognize the divinity of everything that is here in this world. And when we recognize the divinity of everything, then we are not going to destroy. We are going to be more discreet in living in this world. And this is what we need, to look at things, examine things, and see how we can sustain without destroying other things and other beings. So it's more than, if you look at the global oneness, it means that we recognize the global existence of everything, and particularly the principle of coexistence. So the ideology of domination is the basic cause of everything that we are experiencing today. And until we recognize the higher ideal of coexistence, we cannot have peace in this world. And instead of trying to get more and more weapons of destruction, we'll try to see how we can remove these weapons of destruction. Millions and millions and billions of pounds are spending wastefully on these type of things, which could be more usefully for our own benefits. And we are slaving for this money. So many hours a day we don't need to work in this world. We should have more time for ourselves, for meditation, for prayer, for worship, for helping each other. But instead, we have to work night and day to maintain our existence in this world. All the gadgets, the money we are spending on the gadgets that will detect what is happening, this money will be useful for us. We don't need. If you look at the world today, we are spending more money on different gadgets to protect ourselves. Why? Because man hates man. Man is the only creation of God which is planning and thinking of how he can destroy one another. And we call ourselves the most civilized of other God's creation. So Gayatri Mantra, Gayatri chanting, Gayatri Yajna basically is meant how we can improve ourselves, how we can improve our world, how we can live together in peace and harmony, how we can share what we have with each other, and in so doing, we can all have enough in this world. The earth is giving us enough for sustenance and everything else. We stop exploit anything and only think in terms of how we can work together for the benefit and the good of everything. That is really what our objectives are. And we ask the support of people, those who think that this is really what we need, to support us in this endeavor to bring sanity to our world. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.